तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatatam Bhuigrunanti Ye Bhuridajana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we are in the conversations of Sunday, March 9, 1884. That is chapter 20, Rules for Householders and Monks. And we see Thakur is talking here to Mani Mallik. Mani Mohan Mallik was a member of the Brahmo Samaj. And so, Thakur is talking to him. And we understand the talk. We may go back a little to get the connection. He asked Mani Mallik directly, give up hypocrisy. From there, the topic has started. We go back to that point. The worldly man is a hypocrite. That paragraph, in the end, Thakur says, give up hypocrisy. Many counter questions regarding whom, God or man. But that is in the nature of the mind. So Thakur says, Master, regarding everything, man as well as God, one must not be a hypocrite. So that is an important point of spirituality from where we start. And then he talks of Bhavanath. He had some weakness, but he is confessing that straight away to Thakur. So that he calls as non-hypocrisy, guilelessness. How guileless Bhavanath is? After his marriage, he came to me and asked, why do I feel so much love for my wife? Here we corrected yesterday. He is so guileless. Isn't it natural for a man to love his wife? This is due to the world bewitching Maya of the Divine Mother of the universe. A man feels about his wife that he has no one else in the world so near and dear, that she is his very own in life and death, here and hereafter. So a natural feeling between a good husband and wife Thakur describes. But the result, again, how much a man suffers for his wife. Still he believes that there is no other relative so near. Look at the sad plight of a husband. Perhaps he earns 20 rupees a month and is the father of 3 children. He hasn't the means to feed them well. His roof leaks, but he hasn't the wherewithal to repair it. He cannot afford to buy new books for his son. He cannot invest his son with the sacred thread. He begs a few pennies from his different friends. Now, he turns to other types of wives. But a wife endowed with spiritual wisdom is a real partner in life. Yes. She greatly helps her husband to follow the religious path. After the birth of one or two children, they live like brother and sister. Both of them are devotees of God. We read it yesterday, but for connection, I am reading again. His servant and his handmaid. Their family is a spiritual family. They are always happy with God and his devotees. They know that God alone is their own. That is the main point. From everlasting to everlasting, not this life or next life. They are like the Pandava brothers. They do not forget God in happiness or in woe, sorrow. The longing of the worldly minded for God is momentary. Like a drop of water in a red hot frying pan, the water hisses and dries up in an instant. The attention of the worldly minded is directed to the enjoyment of worldly pleasure. Therefore, they do not feel yearning and restlessness for God. This all started from telling that give up hypocrisy. People may observe the Ekadashi in three ways. Here also that hypocrisy enters. First, the waterless Ekadashi, they are not permitted to drink even a drop of water. They do not permit themselves to drink a bowl of water. There is nobody compelling them. Likewise, an all-renouncing religious mendicant completely gives up all forms of enjoyment. Second, while observing the Ekadashi, they take milk and sandesh, sweet made of that very milk, what is called chana in Bengali, paneer in other Indian languages, casein, cottage cheese. They eat their. Likewise, a householder devotee keeps in his house simple objects of enjoyment. Third, while observing the Ekadashi, they eat luchi and chakka. Yesterday we saw the meaning of chakka, a type of sweets made from pumpkin. They eat their fill. They keep a couple of loaves soaking in milk, which they will eat later on. I told you the Marathi equivalent, Ekadashi Dupat Kashi. They eat twice and heavier things. What they eat daily, they won't eat. So they eat heavier things. Called Ekadashi. So he is describing the hypocrisy in full. A man practices spiritual discipline, but his mind is on woman and gold. It is turned toward enjoyment. That is the third type of Ekadashi. Therefore, in his case, the spiritual discipline does not produce the right result. So, this is he is asking Mani Malik to give up hypocrisy. Hazara used to practice much japa and austerity here. But in the country, he has his wife, children, and land. Therefore, along with his spiritual discipline, he carried on the business of a broker. Such people cannot be true to their word. So, hypocrisy, another type. One moment they say they will give up fish, but the next moment they break their vow. So, here giving up fish is not the main thing, but the vow they cannot keep. Is there anything that a man will not do for money? So that is another woman and gold. So the causes of hypocrisy are these two. For money he will do anything. He will even compel a Brahmin or a holy man to carry a load. So in those days, in the old Indian system, this is taken to be a very bad crime or a sin. Brahmin is meant only to do puja, path, jap, dhyan, home, havan, teach. That is the work of a Brahmin. And it is the menial, what we call Shudra, the fourth caste people. to carry loads, what you call the physical labor. But for the sake of money, they are asking Brahmin to carry the load. What is the connection? How they will get money from this? Is that they want to sell some goods somewhere and not finding anybody, will ask the Brahmin, even their Purohit, to carry the load. They will sell there. Now he's telling about his own. How he deals with such people. In my room, sweets would turn bad. People will say, he is not using properly, he is wasting. But his attitude is, still, I could not give them away to the worldly minded. So, making a Brahmin carrying load. To a worldly minded man, he is not ready to give sweets even if they are getting polluted. Because that will be feeding his worldly mindedness. That Thakur does not want. And the worldly minded will indulge in hypocrisy. I could accept dirty water from others, but not even touch the jar of a worldly person. So on this matter, Thakur is very strict. He is very kind. He will come down as low as he can to lift man up, but not a hypocrite. Oh, a lot of it is being dropped, no? About Hazra?
No, everything is there.
Hazra is to comment on Thakur's disciples.
No, previous page. What we read is in previous page.
400.
Here, 399 it is what we read. Previous page. 399.
No, we have passed that. হাজরা টাকাগুলো লোক দেখলে কাছে রাখতো.
Oh, that is not there.
So, lot of things about Hazra have been dropped. अच्छा, here we are. संदेश पहुंचे जेतो. अन्य लोकेर हेगो गटिर जल नीते पारतो. This is a Bengali term. That gati is not ego. Maybe he has taken a water jar along with him for answering calls of nature in the forest. So that jar can be called very unclean. Thakur's extreme, everything is extreme. But if he gives water from that jar, Thakur may take. Everything is absolutely extreme. ये सब लोकेर गति चुतुम ना. ये सब means hypocrites. And now Hazra comes again. At the sight of rich people, Hazra would call them to him. All these paras are discussing hypocrisy, guilelessness, in absolute contrast. Because he had asked whether hypocrisy about man or God. And Thakur said totally. So hypocrisy is hypocrisy. Even slightest hypocrisy is hypocrisy. And that man will not reach God. And why is doing hypocrisy? For the sake of money. That is the talk going on. That is the inner connection, internal connection. He would give them long lectures. He would say to them, you see, Rakhal and the other youngsters, they do not practice any spiritual discipline. They simply wander about merrily. Now to understand here, who have met Rakhal and other devotees up till now, they are Thakur's future sannyasi disciples. And they are sincere to the core. He cannot understand them. Or he criticizes them to show his own glory. So Thakur is mentioning all this verbatim. Now, this is external show of religion and internal sincere religion. So that Thakur is distinguishing now in the next para. All this is one para to next para is internally connected. And unless we find that connection, we have not understood anything. It will become reading like we are reading a novel or a literature. So we must find the running internal theme or connection. And we must find the connection between one para and the next para, one sentence and the next sentence. That is how my teacher taught me. So now he comes to real spiritual discipline and a show of spiritual discipline. A man may live in a mountain cave, smear his body with ashes, observe fasts, and practice austere discipline. But if his mind dwells on worldly objects, on woman and gold, I say, shame on him. So all this in Thakur's mind comes under fake, hypocrite observance of religion. Though he has described the full like a sannyasi, he is referring to Hazra. But I say that a man is blessed indeed who eats, drinks, and roams about Rakhal and all others, but who keeps his mind free from woman and God. So the basic thing is tendency to enjoy objects, tendency to enjoy means of objects. That is directly in contrast with sincerity for God. Nothing else, in Thakur's opinion. And so, all his talk about hypocrisy, about Hazra as an example of hypocrisy, is about this point. That he may be appearing, but is not religious. Shame on him. And boys, because they have some connection with God, they are always happy. So don't say they are making merry. They are happy. The attitude is so much different. Because they don't have their mind on woman and God. So they are thinking of God sincerely. Now at this point, he comes to a apparently new point. So we stopped here yesterday. But to get the connection, the internal connection, we read again. Pointing to Manimalli, there is no picture of a holy man at his house. Now, this is not hypocrisy. If a man is sincere about God, he may be Nirakarvadi. This is a great point. Huh? Does a picture not remind one of God? That is the question. Picture of God realized people, images of God, they must remind of God. But these Nirakarvadis, because they don't believe in God with forms, they are not keeping pictures. So Thakur is pointing out. Divine feeling is awakened through such pictures. Manilal, yes, there is. Now this is a variation from Bengali. He had a daughter, Nandini, a child widow, and she was a sincere sadhak devoted to Thakur. In her room, there are pictures. So this is another slight hypocrisy. Yes, there is. In one room, there is a picture of a pious Christian woman engaged in prayer. So, not about God, but devotee. There is another picture in which a man holds to the hill of faith. Now, because they were Brahmos, even all this is imitation of Christians. But there are pictures. Below is an ocean of immeasurable depth. Oh, big. If he gives up his hold on faith, he will drop into the bottomless water. So, showing importance of faith. There is still a third picture. Several virgins are keeping vigil, feeding their lamps with oil in expectation of the bridegroom. This is also a very good suggestive picture. A sleeping virgin is by their side. She will not behold the bridegroom when he arrives. God is described here as the bridegroom. Now Thakur knows Nandini. And Thakur accepts these pictures. Mind is diverted to Nandini, but Thakur accepts these pictures. In his house, Master smiling. That's very nice. Manilal, I have other pictures too. One of the tree of faith and another of sin and virtue. They're all Christian ideas. Master to Bhavanath. Those are good pictures. Go to his house and see them. Okay. So slight is good, Thakur accepts and is recommending to a guileless man like Bhavanath. The master remains silent a few minutes. There are in this mixture of hypocrisy and all that made Thakur silent. For a few minutes, after thinking, he comes back. Master, now and then I reflect on these ideas and find that I do not like them. Understood? The sin. No, there is an important point here. Not that Thakur does not know these ideas. There is a big charge. You are condemning them because you do not know them. So Thakur said, I do think about them, but do not like them. So this is a result of critical understanding, not simply no faith in those things. Now and then I reflect on these ideas and find that I do not like them. In the beginning of spiritual life, a man should think about sin and how to get rid of it. But when through the grace of God, devotion and ecstatic love are awakened in his heart, then he altogether forgets virtue and sin. Then he leaves the scriptures and their injunctions far behind. These are scriptures of karma kanda. Do this and do not do that. Thoughts of repentance and penance do not bother him at all. So that is Thakur's lofty idea. In the beginning, they may be a little required. But when the mind goes to what Thakur calls Raganuga Bhakti, Bhakti by love and devotion, then one should not come back to these ideas. That is the main point. These are hindrances. In depth of spiritual experience, they are hindrances. They will not allow you to go. That is the important point here. Thoughts of repentance and penance do not bother him at all. Important point for devotion, mind should not go back to the ideas of sin, repentance, all that. One falls down. It is like going to your destination along a winding river. This requires great effort and a long time. But when there is a flood all around, then you can go straight to your destination in a short time. These people in Bengal can easily understand. The land itself becomes a sheet of water. Then you find the land living under water deep as a bamboo pole. Land underwater. That means so much water gathers over the land. So to go through the river is not necessary at all. For those going through water. Otherwise there will be meadows and fields and you will not be able to cross. So this point is a little delicate point. Here, one word becomes clear, which has been had to see the dictionary in those days. Dangati dingi chalai konjan. So Danga is a dry place. Because here, Thakur is telling ek Dangati ek mancho. In the beginning of spiritual life, one goes by a roundabout way. Now, these are all important from another point of view. Adhikari Bhed changes the course of his sadhana. He cannot prescribe sadhana same from this point to that point. One has to suffer a great deal, but the path becomes very easy when ecstatic love is awakened in the heart. Important point here, you understand? Ecstatic love is in the heart does not mean you have reached destination. Path is smoother. There is path, you have to walk, but don't take so much trouble. Like Gita's Arukshar Muner Yogam, you have climbed the hill, but path is still there. It is like going over the paddy field after the harvest is over. Another example, and that water example is different. There is a paddy field, and you want to go from here to there. Then you have to take recourse to the ridges built for continuing water in the paddy field. But if the crop has been removed, you can walk straight. So all these wonderful ideas are in Thakur's mind. You may then walk in any direction. Before the harvest, you have to go along the winding walk. Walk is that, ridges. Huh? But now you can walk in any direction. There may be stubble in the field, but you will not be hurt by it if you walk with your shoes off. Practical. Huh? In the field, plain is there, but there are stubbles, and they are very badly pinching. But if you have shoes, you can walk. He means that just so, an aspirant does not suffer if he has discrimination, dispassion, and faith in the Guru's words. So sadhak is advanced, one thing. Now the advanced sadhak automatically has. This is the connection, discrimination, dispassion, and faith in the Guru's words. And so it is like putting on shoes and you can walk on these steps. So again, this is not for a man who does not have these. He has to walk on the box. Manilal, to the master. Well, what is the rule for concentration? Where should one concentrate? Now, after all this talk, he is asking a direct spiritual question. Because the main point in all this is to meditate on God. So the question is location for meditation. Patanjali will say, Deshabandhas Chittasya Dharana. And this dharana develops into meditation. Anywhere in the world, in your body, outside your body, you concentrate on a spot to the exclusion of all other spots around you. That is Deshabandha. And in the scriptures on devotion or knowledge also in the beginning, best place is heart. If you go by, I'm anticipating what Thakur is telling, if you go by the tantric or yogic method, the alternative is sahasra. But the real Jnani will ask, space, you want to meditate on the reality, absolute reality. You have to lose the consciousness of space. This is the question and Shankar's answer in the 8th chapter of Chandogya. The same question is raised, where to meditate. And he says, because you have asked a question, so I have to reply. Otherwise, this question itself is not valid. If you are really meditating on the Nirguna Brahma, the question of space does not arise at all. But since you are asked, I am telling, heart is the best place. Now let us read. The heart is a splendid place. I know that. Splendid place. Danka Mara is to it, Danka Petai was. That means with drum beat you can declare that heart is the best place. Now here I find lot of confusion between so-called advanced sadhaks. Lot of confusion. So one must find where is heart. In the yoga books, they discuss the Kundalini, which is through the spinal cord. And there lotuses and chakras they describe. And when the mind comes there, if you are doing yogic practice, the mind may go there. So that is not the heart which Thakur is telling. Because of that, some people say, now our heart is here, physical heart, and spinal cord is behind this. Because of this, some people say heart is to the right. And because of that, some people say heart is to the right. And I came across a developed sadhika who used to give lectures in Pune Ashram. She says heart is here. Here. So I'll refer to two things. In the Shruti, Kathopanishad and all that places, Narayan Suktam, a inverted thumb like empty space is described in the heart. And that is the description of our physical heart. And because of which the Purusha himself is said to be Angushtamatram Purusha. One point. Second point, Shankaracharya says in the Gita there is a place where he says the sight of the eyes should be between the eyebrows. There Shankar specifically mentions in the Bhashya, it is only the eyes, it is not the place for meditation. Place for meditation is the heart, there he says. Why the sight is to be there? That means if we close our eyes, we may become subject to our sleep. If you open our eyes, the world will disturb us. So eyes open but not looking anywhere is that position. There again one confusion. Look at the tip of your nose. Now, is this the tip or that is the tip? Because between the eyebrows, so this cannot be the tip. So many confusions by half understanding as arisen. So let us see what real scriptures tell. Let us see what Thakur is telling. So because he has asked a question, so direct answer is heart. The Guru from whom I received my mantra diksha, he taught meditation to Americans for a long while. Then he came to India. So we were given a small card. And there the word heart itself was not mentioned. Feel the center of your consciousness. And Feel that mentally you are taking a bath, cleaning yourself thoroughly and going there, and there you are meeting with the Lord. Now, where is the center of consciousness? Let us sincerely try to feel I. Where do you feel I consciousness? That is the only consciousness we know. Center, because consciousness can go with the mind anywhere. But center of consciousness, I will show by some gesture. If you ask a person, shall I do? Will you do this thing? He says, yes, I will do. I will do. And if he fails, then, oh, I could not do. So the brain could not work. The heart was working. Exception in my narration, wrestlers, boxers, they will say, yes, I will do. Their eye has gone into their hands. So the physical heart is mentioned. Now another point. Thakur told Totapuri, I am not able to make my mind free of forms. Not that I am not able to meditate. In a second, his mind used to meditate. It is described. Withdraw from all sides of the world. But he was aware of the Divine Mother. That means to be aware of the cosmic reality, you have to be aware of yourself. And that does not allow you to go beyond forms. So he asked Tota. Tota said, why you cannot do that? And he took a piece of glass and pinched between eyebrows and said, bring your mind there. We all read this. Do you find anywhere Thakur followed it? Please tell me. Anywhere in any book that Thakur followed it? What Thakur did? Thakur said, I again went to my point. Again the Divine Mother appeared. I used my knowledge as a sword and cut her into pieces. And then nothing remained to obstruct me. The mind became formless. Directly into Samadhi. So the question remains why Tota taught him. This is the place where we feel Aham Brahmasmi. And through that you will go. That is Tota's idea. And in the Yoga Shastra, heart is the first place where you feel consciousness. Below that, all physical. Then from heart it rises to the throat. There the Vairagyam. From throat it rises to the eyebrows. So that is all starting from the heart. Directly you are not asked to consent. So in any way, that is what the Chandogya told, that is what Thakur is telling here. Dhanka Maharajaga, that is, at the drum beat you can declare heart is the best place. We know a physical case, we know a case. The great Swami Virajananda Maharaj was mother's disciple. But he was meditating, reading books, Swamiji's books are some books. He was meditating between eyebrows. And the result was he was having chronic headache. He went to Holy Mother and asked her, I am having chronic headache. What should I do? Holy Mother immediately diagnosed and said, it seems you are meditating there. Stop that. Meditate in your heart and your headache will go away. Understood? Now let me add one more. Because some people from the beginning want to meditate there. What we want to gain through meditation. Let me add a little further. How the meditation on Ishtam or form of God is prescribed. They say you go to your heart and imagine or feel or visualize your Ishtam is sitting facing the same direction in which you are facing. Then somebody asks where I should feel myself. You should try slowly to forget yourself. In place of you, okay, then people tell you, you feel you are coming from opposite direction, you are sitting at his feet or wherever you like. The meaning is that the subject has to be replaced. You are not the subject, God is the subject. Now, if you feel God in front, whether in the heart or in the eyebrows, you are meditating on an object, you are the subject. That is another thing. Mind. One day I discussed the mind and heart. So mind, imagination. Okay? The heart is a splendid place. One can meditate there or in the Sahasrara. Sahasrara is at the back of the head. Some people say above the head even. Because one wants to go beyond the body consciousness. And Shiva lives there. So that is another place. These are rules for meditation given in the scriptures. But you may meditate wherever you like. That is either Deshavanda Chitta Sadharana or according to knowledge. Don't think of space, you meditate. Clear ideas about meditation are given in this small paragraph. Everywhere is filled with Brahman. That is the idea. Brahman consciousness, Brahma Chaitanya is all pervading. So how you think of space? Is there any place where it does not exist? Now for this he gives some example. And this great Nikhilan Swamiji also, the Bengalis transliterating in English is horrible. Horrible. On one point. In Sanskrit, there is a clear distinction between va, ya, ra, la, va, half vowels, and ba, fa, fa, ba, ba, the lip closing place. But in Bengali, there is no va. Ba, va by Rabeda, they say. And so the English letter V, how you pronounce it? Non-Bengalis? V. Va joined with her. But Bengalis, for Bha, they write V. And here for Ba, he is writing V. It will confuse everybody. What will you read this? Narayana in Vali's presence. Vali is Sugriva's brother Vali. In English, A represents both short A and long A. So that will not solve your problem. And where it is? Bali. So Bali will become Vali. Understood? Narayana in Bali's presence covered with two steps the heavens, the earth, and the interspaces. So showing that God is all pervading, Thakur is giving the example of Vamana avatar. Bali was a Asura king. He was a very good king. But Indra, the devatas, are afraid that he has taken away our kingdom. Actually, devas are in heaven, asuras are in patal. This is earth. But they feel our kingdom is gone. And they requested God to do some trick by which we will get back. So Bali every day used to give dhanam to any yachak, anybody who asked. So there God went in the garb of a dwarf man and asked Bali for dhan. What you want? 3 steps of land. He easily gave. Then by 2 steps, 1 step covered the whole earth, 1 step covered the heaven and the intermediary space also. So where to give the third? Bali said, keep on my head. So through that third step, he pushed Bali into Patal. And the concept in Kerala is that Bali still rules there in Patal. And he was such a good ruler on earth that people still remember him. And he comes to visit his people every year. That is the festival Onam in Kerala. So these are different valid concepts in our religion. For 10 days they celebrate Onam. So that is the story referred here to show that God is everywhere. Narayana in Bali's presence covered with 2 steps, the heaven, the earth and the interspaces. Is there then any place left uncovered by God? A dirty place is as holy as the bank of the Ganges, because it is pervaded by God. There is a similar expression in Christianity for a different purpose. Don't swear by the name of God, they are telling. And there they are telling, don't swear by any place on earth because God is there. It is said that the whole creation is the Virat, the universal form of God. So it is clear that he is not mentioning Yoga Chitta Dharana. He is mentioning Vedanta here. And there is no question of space where God does not exist. So if you want to meditate on the real nature of God, forget space. And now because of this, he is coming to that internal connection. There are two kinds of meditation, one on the formless God and the other on God with form. But meditation on the formless God is extremely difficult. In that meditation, you must wipe out all that you see or hear, including space. You contemplate only the nature of your inner self. Meditating on his inner self, Shiva dances about. He exclaims, "What am I? What am I?" So, consciousness and bliss are there together. What am I means real nature of I. This is called the Shiva Yoga. Thakur knows every type of yoga. In the Gita, only 18 types are given. While practicing this form of meditation, one directs one's look to the forehead. Look to the forehead. It is meditation on the nature of one's inner self after negating the world. That is a very important thing. Shivam, Shivam, Shivam people like. But 3 lines of negation in every stanza. So unless you negate yourself, the world, you cannot meditate on this formless God, real formless God, which is your own real nature. Following the Vedantic method of Neti Neti, there is another form of meditation known as the Vishnu Yoga. Vishnu is all pervading. The eyes are fixed on the tip of the nose, eyes. Half the look is directed inward and the other half outward. That is the reason. This is how one meditates on God with form. Sometimes Shiva meditates on God with form and dances. So Shiva is the absolute reality. He does as he likes. No difference. No conflict. At that time he exclaims Rama Rama and dances above. What am I? What am I? And dances. And Rama Rama and dances. Thakur's ideas are crystal clear, no doubt anywhere. Why this? Why that? Sri Ramakrishna then explained the sacred word Om and the true knowledge of Brahman and the state of mind after the attainment of Brahmajnan. This portion we'll read tomorrow. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhirīditam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadaatatam Bhui Grunanti Ye Bhuridajana Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanam.